You're welcome to Nationwide on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority. I am Lami Ali. The federal government is anchoring reasons for this year's Independence Day celebration on the commitments of the Nigerian people to achieve uninterrupted democratic rule since 1999. Now, as the World Press Conference to mark the 63rd independence anniversary of Nigeria, Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, reaffirmed the resolve of President Bola Tinubu's led administration to deliver good governance to the Nigerian people. Kenneth Nanim reports.
The World Press Conference is scheduled to herald other activities lined up for the 63rd independence anniversary of Nigeria. Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, explains that Nigeria has every reason to celebrate but will be on a low key, pointing to the socio-economic challenges as part of reasons.
We are doing this celebration conscious of the fact that we are 63 years, but also, more importantly, conscious of the fact that economic times are hard.
Meanwhile, the SGF enumerated several steps being taken by the federal government to cushion the impact of the fuel subsidy removal, including engagements with the organized labor unions.
At the same time, the government is engaging with labor in order to address areas of concern for the well-being of all Nigerian workers and Nigerians generally.
Answering questions from journalists, the SGF also put in perspective some of the urgent measures already taken by the federal government to provide palliatives to the Nigerian people, to include 5 billion naira disbursed to the state governments, distribution of grains, arrangements to procure electric vehicles and other projects captured in the supplementary budget.
We have repeatedly said that the fuel subsidy regime was a scam, but the courage to confront it was always lacking until this government came to power. Some of these things will be well encapsulated in the report that Nigerians will soon see.
The SGF also pointed to several economic policies by the federal government to revamp the economy and the desire by President Tinubu to woo investors into the country.
In totality, this is going to improve our economy and to create prosperity for all of us. Even the issue of students' loan is a policy to be applauded. Students will have access to loan. And when we hear that school fees is increased in universities, government universities, we say that is not true. Because the president said no, there was no increase and no public institution should increase school fees.
The event brought together media executives and other Nigerians from all walks of life. Kenneth Nanim, NTA News.
The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, is optimistic that Nigeria is on course to recovery and greatness due to the way President Bola Tinubu has hit the ground running with bold reforms and seizing the opportunity offered in the month of September 2023 to make a grand entry onto the global stage. The minister, who reviewed the president's journey so far in a write-up, also acknowledged the commitment, dedication and determination of cabinet members to implement the renewed hope agenda of the Tinubu administration. Timothy Yusuf reports.
September 2023 announced the new Nigerian leader to the world as President Bola Tinubu in what has been his busiest month on the global stage since he assumed office, traveled to India for the G20 summit on the special invitation of Prime Minister Narendra Modi to set the stage for what to expect from Nigeria in the few years. Minister of Information and National Orientation Mohammed Idris explained that stopover on his way back home for a crucial meeting with the leadership of the United Arab Emirates UAE on lingering issues of concern between UAE and Nigeria, and then traveling to New York to make his debut at the most important annual gathering of heads of state, the United Nations General Assembly UNGA, are remarkable moves that worth the country's while. President Tinubu's address at the UN, which was reminiscent of the powerful and iconic Africa Has Come of Age speech by the late head of state, General Murtala Mohammed, 5 decades ago, drew attention of a listening world with his emphasis on an equal and mutually beneficial relationship between Africa and the world, instead of one defined by condescension, pity, and greed. Minister Idris says the president spoke boldly for the entire African continent, tracing the history of the post-World War II global system, starting with a Marshall Plan that helped redeem Europe. Asking for a 21st century equivalent for the plan, President Tinubu added, I quote, "We realize that underlying conditions and causes of the economic challenges facing today's Africa are significantly different from those of post-war Europe. We are not asking for identical programs and actions. What we seek is an equally firm commitment to partnership. We seek enhanced international cooperation with African nations to achieve the 2030 Agenda and Sustainable Development Goals." Unquote.
Many proclamations have been made, yet our troubles remain close at hand. Failures in good governance have hindered Africa, but broken promises, unfair treatment, and outright exploitation from abroad have also exerted a heavy toll on our ability to progress.
Mohammed Idris cited ending a costly and wasteful fuel subsidy regime that has over the decades deprived the country of tens of billions of dollars in potential infrastructure and human capital investments, and the commencement of the overhaul of the Central Bank of Nigeria, abolishing an inefficient system of multiple exchange rates, are all measures that experts say will grow the economy better. The Minister of Information and National Orientation also pointed to an impressive cabinet with representation of young people and women, while also creating new ministries and ministerial portfolios to reflect the pressing realities of the 21st century as clear signs of the priorities of the administration. Specifically noting Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy, recognizing the unlimited potential of that sector to produce national prosperity, and also a dedicated ministry for the creative economy. President Tinubu has, in his role as recently elected chairman of ECOWAS, the minister says, has shown great commitment to stemming the condemnable wave of military takeovers that have rocked the sub-region, and expects that his diplomatic efforts will yield enduring fruit in the months ahead. The minister is also quick to note the busy last quarter of the year ahead, where the administration will unveil its inaugural budget, which will set the tone for investors and other potential partners about government's priorities and Nigeria's participation in the annual global gathering for climate change COP28 in Dubai. Nigeria, he said, will push forward with work on the various reforms that the president has kick-started, from tax policy reform to a compressed natural gas (CNG) transition for petrol and diesel-powered vehicles, to the full implementation of a comprehensive relief package to cushion the effects of the fuel subsidy. Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
A section of the Supreme Court of Nigeria was this morning gutted by fire. Dennis Temple reports that no life was lost, but some documents were destroyed. The actual cause of the fire outbreak could not be ascertained, but the Director of Press and Information says it may be connected to technical issues.
Fire outbreak doesn't select where it happens. It could happen anywhere. It was just a case of electrical fault that happens everywhere. Well, as for the books that were touched, they are replaceable, even also in hard copies as well. And we have an e-library in the Supreme Court. So the soft copy version, copies version is there also to back up whatever thing that is lost there.
The Justice Chambers is a critical component of the judiciary where information is stored for references, but the Director of Press maintains that documents lost to the outbreak can be restored.
The computers the tables and the walls and the ceilings. So that's what just we were called by around 7:30 this morning. I learned that the fire started around 7, but they were able to reach onto us by running call.
The fire had long been put off through the collaborative efforts of workers at the Apex Court, personnel of the Federal Fire Service and the police. 16 kidnapped victims comprising 13 students from the Federal University, Gusau, Zamfara State, and 3 construction workers in the state have so far regained their freedom from their abductors. Among the new victims released are 6 persons abducted from the university. The feat was achieved following the ongoing intensified operation by both the land and the air components of the Joint Security Forces, working tactfully to ensure rescue of all the captives unhurt. The Senate has called for immediate rescue of abducted female students of Federal University, Gusau, in Zamfara State. In a statement, the Chairman Senate Committee on Army, Senator Abdul Aziz Adwa, says rescuing the innocent female students from captivity of the bandits must be the topmost priority. Senator Adwa lamented that the scourge of banditry and insurgency by criminal elements in the country with attendant abduction of law-abiding citizens is of concern to Nigerians. He added that the Nigerian Army and other security agencies must be well equipped and positioned to stop the menace. We now join Michael in Lagos for continuation of Nationwide.
The Leadership Election Tribunal has struck out the motion of People's Democratic Party's candidate Olajide Adediran on the non-compliance of candidates' nomination, stating that it is a pre-election matter. Adiola Komiakewe, who is monitoring the hearing at the Roslyn Omotosho Special Offences Court Ikeja, Lagos, reports that Adediran had earlier filed a motion seeking the disqualification of Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu and his deputy Obafemi Hamzat on the ground that both were not duly nominated. The tribunal, in its ruling on preliminary objections, cited Section 1341A of the Electoral Act 2022, that is, that it has no power or right to inquire into primary election, or any political party, adding that it is a pre-election matter, therefore, tribunal is only concerned with outcome of elections. Another objection taken is whether the third respondent, the Deputy Governor Obafemi Hamzat, is a separate and distinct candidate from the second respondent, Babajide Sanwo-Olu. The tribunal was also asked to determine whether the Deputy Governor could be listed as a respondent in the petition. The tribunal noted that the issue has been decided in a number of cases, noting that a Deputy Governor and Governor are not separate candidates and they are not required to pay separate security deposit. Adediran had joined Rose Vivor as a respondent in his petition. The tribunal therefore upheld the preliminary objection and subsequently struck out the name of the fifth respondent. Rose Vivor was from the petition filed by Jendor. The tribunal also expunged from its records all exhibits tendered in evidence by Rose Vivor in the petition filed by Jendor. Journalists have besieged the court in anticipation for the final verdict with heavy presence of security. In a significant move, President Bola Tinubu got the entire world to focus on Nigeria and the enormous potential the nation possesses as he had several bilateral and multilateral discussions with world leaders at 78th session of the United Nations General Assembly in New York. Correspondents sourced the views of experts on the president's sidelines engagement and how it will stimulate economic development in Nigeria.
While in New York, President Tinubu also held bilateral meetings with several world leaders, including the presidents of the European Union Commission, Brazil, South Africa, among others, to advance his economic development agenda and emerging investment opportunities in Nigeria. Respondents believe that the president's engagements will further open up the Nigerian economy to the international community.
We hope the investors will come into the country and open up industries, open up investment opportunities.
Not just to come bring money that will come in, hot money, and go out, but come up, set up structures here that will then begin to do those things that are happening there. There will be knowledge transfer.
Described as a fabulous outing for Nigeria, experts say the country will soon see the outcome of such engagements.
He was spot on. He knew what we wanted, so he went all out, to put forward Nigeria's plan, with regards to what we need at this time.
We hope he's able to set up his foreign policy desk and team so that we'll become more potent in the Committee of Nations.
Taking the selling of our nation positively to the hearts of businessmen and women who have, some of them have been long, wanting to know more about Nigeria.
For Nigeria to realize the many investors promising to do business with the country, experts agreed that government must be intentional by providing an enabling business environment that will attract direct foreign investments into the country. In Lagos, Hingino John Adams, NTA News.
Be reminded that you can follow this news broadcast live on our website at nta.ng/live and on our other social media handles displayed on your screen for updates. That is it from here. It's now back to Lami for the continuation of the news.
Fellow Nigerians, this period may be hard on us, and there is no doubt that is tough on us. But I urge you all to look beyond the present temporary pains and aim at the larger picture. All our good and helpful plans are in the works. More importantly, I know that they will work.
When you think about hospitality and affordable luxury away from home, then you talk about Sharon Ultimate Hotels, a secured and serene environment that offers kingly services such as 24-hour room service, impeccable security with CCTV surveillance, parking lot, free Wi-Fi internet service, free complimentary breakfast, restaurants that offers continental and local dishes, well-equipped fitness center with instructors, swimming pool, 350 capacity multi-purpose hall, laundry service, pastry corner, mini mart, and our suites are breathtaking. For reservation, locate us at plot 1710, Tafawa Balewa Way, Area 3, Garikia, Abuja. Sharon Ultimate Hotels, the ultimate place.
I'm fascinated with the discourse on national monuments and assets and how much is being done to preserve and
look into the language issue. We have turned English to become like a pride value in our own cultural values.
It's not cash transfer. It's not a COVID-19.
Invasion 1897 was a deliberate
many of these people coming to the urban areas now.
And applications, there are terms and conditions that
of course it is the union of two people, a man and a woman coming together.
My name is Namdi Odipo.
And I'm Elizabeth Omori.
From dusk to dawn, 24 hours a day, NTA International is with you. In your living room, office, and everywhere, anywhere. We provide a company you desire in terms of balanced and up-to-date news, programs, and the best of entertainment. Tune in to DSTV channel 251, GoTV channel, Freeview channel 264, or live streaming via www.visiontv.co.uk. And to watch NTA International in the USA, Canada, and Mexico, use the following satellite parameters. You can also see us on Facebook and YouTube for quality content on the go. NTA International, Africa's window to the world.
We must all join hands to work hard so that we build a country for our grandchildren.
My hope is that we develop as a nation where every citizen is given his due right. There is transparency, honesty, and integrity.
Put the interests of this country first and foremost. Interests of Nigeria is being one nation, one people.
The need, if I mean, to put things right, things that have gone wrong before, to try and put right, for this, for the love of country.
The Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Olukayode Ariwola, says to promote speedy dispensation of justice in the country, the judiciary must streamline and simplify court processes, invest in technology, as well as develop the capacity of judicial officers to handle cases efficiently and effectively. Justice Ariwola stated this in Abuja at the opening of the 2023 Roundtable for Heads of Courts across the 36 states of the Federation and the FCT. Judiciary correspondent Chukwunonso Nwabweze reports.
The Roundtable, which is at the instance of the National Judicial Institute, provides a unique platform for heads of courts in Nigeria to brainstorm on not only issues bordering on adjudication, but also on administrative responsibilities for the effective administration of justice, as well as prudent management of the court's resources. The Chief Justice of Nigeria and Chairman Board of Governors of the Institute, Justice Olukayode Ariwola, in his opening remarks, stressed the importance of the independence of the judiciary in the pursuit and preservation of the rule of law.
Only an independent judiciary can safeguard the freedoms and rights of citizens, and of course ensure easy access to justice for all. I must remind us all that delay in adjudication of cases poses serious concern to the rule of law and the judiciary's reputation.
It is a vital therefore for heads of court to remain steadfast in their commitment to upholding the rule of law, thereby fostering public trust in the judiciary.
As advocates of justice, we must come to terms with the expectations of the general populace and international community the discharge of our duties and preserve the image of the judiciary at all times.
The heads of courts in the next 3 days will be deliberating on repositioning the judiciary as the fulcrum of the rule of law. Chukwunonso Nwabweze, NTA News.
The federal government has emphasized its commitments towards improving institutional and infrastructural facilities in the nation's justice sector to tackle challenges of administration of justice in Nigeria. The Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Lateef Fagbemi, SAN, stated this during a reception in his honor in Ado-Ekiti. Tayo Show reports.
It was a luncheon in honor of the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister for Justice Lateef Fagbemi, SAN, who began his legal career at the chambers of Afe Babalola as a core member in 1985. He became a senior advocate of Nigeria at the age of 37 after 10 years at the bar, making him the youngest in history to be so conferred at that time. The minister observed that for the court to discharge its roles of dispute settlement and interpretation of the law effectively, it must not be denied requisite infrastructure and technological innovations to perform its expected constitutional roles. This is said the Bola Tinubu-led administration is committed to.
In order to have any meaningful impact, progress or development,
you need to engage each of these tiers of government before you can come out. Let all of us be on the same page and sing from the same hymn.
Ekiti State Governor Biodo Yibanji, who congratulated the Attorney General, reiterated the state government's support to efforts at enhancing the effectiveness of the judiciary.
And I know that you will not be the last Attorney General from that chamber. One has come before you, you are the second, and I'm very confident that the others will come after you.
There were goodwill messages to celebrate the Attorney General at the ceremony in Ado-Ekiti. Tayo Osho, NTA News.
We go to the National Assembly, where the Senate and the House of Representatives are set to resume plenary after the 2023 recess. I put together this report on the expectations of Nigerians from the two chambers. Nigeria's 10th bicameral legislature was inaugurated June 13, 2023. In line with their commitments of effectively discharging constitutional mandates, the two chambers immediately constituted leadership and standing committees. Senate commenced the annual parliamentary recess on the 7th of August 2023 after the marathon screening and confirmation of ministerial nominees, while the House left for recess on July 27th. Now, the two chambers are set to resume, and Nigerians have high expectations. The Senate and House will hopefully, after resumption, roll out the legislative agenda, which spells out areas of focus in the four-year legislative session.
Legislative agenda of the 10th Senate. Gender matter, revisiting the women participation in politics and political positions. Youth development, then electoral sanctity.
We are going to embark upon one of our major constitutional responsibility of oversight on ministries, departments and agencies.
For this our country to move forward, for things to go well, legislations need to reflect the people. It needs to reflect the needs, the yearnings, the peculiarity of the Nigerian people.
Appointments by Mr. President, like that of the Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria and two additional ministerial nominees, will be among the first legislative activities at the Senate as soon as communicated by President for screening and confirmation. Expectedly, too, the executive will transmit the budget proposal for 2024 to the National Assembly for approval. With this, many express the hope that it will be passed before the end of the year to sustain the January to December budget cycle, as was the tradition throughout the life of the 9th Assembly. Lami Ali, NTA News. As part of preparations for the forthcoming off-cycle governorship elections in Bayelsa, Imo and Kogi states, scheduled for Saturday, 11th November 2023, INEC will simultaneously conduct a mock accreditation of voters in the three states on Saturday, 14th October 2023, from 8:30 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. A statement by INEC National Commissioner for Information, Sam Ulumeku, indicates that 3 polling units in each senatorial district have been identified across the 3 states, covering 9 senatorial districts and 27 polling units. Lessons learned from the exercise will be taken into consideration in ensuring a seamless process on election day. We join Susan in Makurdi. All right, we have some issues joining Makurdi, so we'll continue here in Abuja. Our next story, solid and industrial water disposals are some of the major factors affecting about 70% of lakes and rivers in Adamawa State, which is harmful to both human and animals. As the world celebrates 2023 World Rivers Day, correspondent Bilkisu Abubakar is at the Lake Gerio in Adamawa State with the Managing Director of Upper Benue River Basin Development Authority, Abubakar Muazu, on the effects of flooding and indiscriminate dumping of refuse.
Water is said to be the life of both human and animals. However, water pollution as a result of human activities is one among the major problems affecting rivers. Open defecation, dumping of refuse, discharging of sewage, Bathing and washing in the rivers have detrimental effect on the lives of people, especially causes of ailments like kidney-related diseases, typhoid, cholera, malaria, among other diseases. Lake Gerio, for instance, is overflooded, thereby denying the farmers access to farm throughout the rainy season. To this effect, Upper Benue River Basin Development Authority celebrates the 2023 World Rivers Day with desilting of lake, planting of trees, and campaign against water pollution.
This Benue River is in the middle of the state capital, so it's threatened not only by huge expanded population, but also is impacted by the solid waste disposal from communities.
With the theme, Save the River, the 2023 International Day of Rivers meant to highlight the importance of rivers not only for agricultural development, but domestic utilization. In Yola, Bilkisu Abubakar, NTA News.
All right, Bilkisu Abubakar is right now at River Gerio to give us an update. Hello, Bilkisu.
Well, as you have rightly said, right now we are at the Lake Gerio, which is almost 2 square kilometer lake. The lake, which is situated side by side by the River Benue, it is indeed providing many job opportunities to farmers, and not only farmers, but fishing activities in the lake. But the major problem that confronting the farmers in this area is perennial flooding, which may not be, most of the farmers are not having the access into their farmlands, especially during the raining season. In the Lake Gerio, it has about 1,200 fertile land for farming activities, but out of it, only 350 hectares of land that is being used for irrigation purposes. Beside me is one of the farmer in person of Abdullahi Baba Iyali, who is going to speak in Hausa language. Malam Abdullahi, yaya zaka kwatanta mana ganin cewa yanzu damuna ya zo kuma ba kwa samun hanya yadda za ku yi noma a wannan korafi na Lageriyo?
To, kin gani dai yadda ruwan yayi. Mun yi duk kowane shekara haka muke fama. Muna nema inda zai yiwu gwamnati ta zo ta tone mana kogin nan yadda zai dinga bari mu muna aikin mu. Yanzu wannan inda gwamnati za ta zo ta yi mana abin da muke so, za mu yi girbi sau 3 a shekara daya. Wannan din shine matsalar mu anan.
Okay, according to Mala Abdullahi, that the flooding is really affecting them because they are really depending on farming in this Legerio. But because of the flooding, they cannot be able to farm 3 times in a year. Also with me is the managing director of the Upper Benue River Basin Development Authority, Yola, in person of Muazu Abubakar. The managing director, yes. Sir, aside from the flooding, what other problems that we are experiencing here in the Lake Gerio that is affecting farmers especially?
Well, the problems are multiple. Not only farmers, but cattle rearers, fishermen, navigation. And in fact, today, the 25th of September, the World Rivers Day, the theme is Save the River. So to save the river is from what you said, pollution, human activities induced by climate change, and the overpopulation of the entire country, which was below 60 million in 1960. Now we are almost 250 million. So rivers are seriously affected by climate change induced by human activities, which led to dwindling resources and inability of the rivers to sustain the population in terms of agriculture, in terms of fish farming, in terms of navigation, and in terms of livestock. The climate change in Africa is mainly induced by over-exploitation of our natural resources. In Europe, it may be pollution or burning of fossil fuels, but in Africa, it's over-exploitation of the natural resources.
Okay. This is the Managing Director of Upper Benue River Basin Development Authority. We can now hand you over to Susan in our Makurdi Network Center.
We seem to be having some audio issues with Makurdi, so Nationwide continues here in Abuja. Ginger farmers across southern Kaduna have been battling with an unidentified fungal pathogen. This pathogen has destroyed hectares of ginger farms worth billions of naira since April this year. Comfort Amadu, who visited some of the affected farms in company of the Nigerian Export Promotion Council, reports that all farms in that area were affected by the infection.
Here is 250 bags.
It's been a season of colossal loss for ginger farmers in southern Kaduna. From survey, more than 2,500 hectares of ginger farms worth billions of naira fell prey to a fungal pathogen, leading to an estimated loss of 8 to 10 billion naira.
Everybody, like me, I'm talking about 4 hectares.
7 local governments have been affected by these fungal pathogens. Even deaths have been recorded following these developments.
One of recent, he went to the farm, he just collapsed on the farm. He happened to be one of those people who had collected loan to pay back ginger in bags.
This situation may have ripple effects on the volume of Nigerians' ginger export. This explains the visit of the Executive Director, Nigerian Export Promotion Council, to inspect the affected farms and brainstorm measures for quick recovery.
To me, it's a pandemic, and I think we should all put efforts together and do what needs to be done. The way COVID-19 came, all efforts were on that disease. I think we should also place much premium or much attention on this disease because it's something that will affect almost the economy of this nation.
In the meantime, farmers may have to think of some other crops to plant and survive on for the next year or two, while agronomists from the Institute for Agricultural Research, IRABU Zaria, run tests on the soil samples to ascertain the root cause.
In the next 2 years, all the seeds, the rhizomes that we will plant, we must dress them with the fungicide. They say metalaxyl-based fungicide, so that it will help heal. Otherwise, it won't survive.
If it happens again next year, we are finished. Right now, we're trying to preserve some, seeds to see if we can get some by next year.
Options available to ginger farmers in southern Kaduna include cash crops like maize, beans, and turmeric, which survived the fungal onslaught on the same soil. From southern Kaduna, Comfort Amadu, NTA News.
From Kaduna, we move to Anambra State, where residents of coastal communities say they are not in a hurry to move out of their homes, even with the warning of impending flood by the Nigerian Meteorological Agency, NIMET. Uchenna Nwekoyo visited some of these communities.
There have been several warnings by the Nigerian Meteorological Agency, NIMET, for Nigerians living along the coastal lines of the River Niger and River Benue to prepare for an impending flood due to high degree of rainfall. This is Omambala River, one of the tributaries to River Niger. Residents of Umeza Anam, a community in Anambra West Council area of Anambra State, say they are used to flooding and not in a haste to leave their ancestral home. Local authorities say enough sensitization has been done by relevant agencies to disabuse the minds of those who may think the flood will not come.
We had to rally around to invite the members of the community of this council, from the different communities. They gathered and they were told about the coming flood so that they will be ready for evacuation to the place that was already made for them.
Farmers have hurriedly harvested their farm produce as the water level continued to rise. From Umezanam in Anambra West local government area, Uchenna Nwekoyo, NTA News.
All right, Franklin is standing by in Umobanam ward at Anambra East local government area, Anambra State, to give us an update on the community's readiness for the impending flood predicted by NIMET.
What?
So what's the sense of?
All right. We join her later when the signals improve. Now, the unavailability of research facilities in Nigerian tertiary institutions have been an impediment to quality research and the strong will to improve global ranking of the country's universities. To address this, a committee has been constituted on the establishment of TET-Fund Central Multipurpose Laboratories in the country. Abdullahi Musa Suleja reports that Tertiary Education Fund, TET-Fund, inaugurated the 10-member committee to drive this initiative.
In consonance with the fund's paradigmship to enhance content-based intervention and deepen the institutionalization of research and development to tackle national challenges, a total of 727 research grants to researchers from public tertiary institutions at the cost of over 18 billion naira under the National Research Fund, NRF, was awarded. As if that was not enough, the Academic Staff Training and Development Intervention Program has enabled the fund to sponsor over 10,000 academic staff for foreign masters and PhD programs at the cost of over 100 billion naira, out of which 1,000 were sponsored for bench work at the cost of over 5 billion naira. However, that could not meet the required results.
Upon return of the scholars to their various institutions, many were unable to share the knowledge acquired and to replicate their experiences due largely to the research infrastructure deficits in their institutions. All these clearly indicate the absence of world-class requisite R&D infrastructure to conduct top-level research in our country.
A similar effort was made in 2009 by the then Education Trust Fund, where 6 zonal central teaching and research laboratories were to be established. Only at the point of takeoff of the implementation of the project, 15 billion naira was diverted by the federal government to fund the establishment of 9 new federal universities to achieve the policy of federal presence in the state of the federation. Nigerians will follow with keen interest to see if this effort will not go the way of similar venture. Abdullahi Musa Suleja, NTA News.
You're watching Nationwide. We take some more messages.
Our commitment is to promote the greatest good for the greatest number of our people. On principle, we shall never falter. We will get out of this turbulence. And due to the measures we have taken, Nigeria will be better equipped and able to take advantage of the future that awaits her.
Nigeria means unity.
Nigeria means freedom to me.
Nigeria means greatness to me.
Nigeria is indivisible. There is nothing you can do. We all have to savage it together and learn to love each other. We are indivisible. As a mother and a leader, I will always preach for peace and unity in this country, because that is the only thing that will give us progress.
Though tribes and tongues may differ, in brotherhood we stand. And it is the woman that does that.
Sportybet sponsors coverage of the Italian Serie A.
All right, thank you for staying. We earlier brought you a story on the flood situation in some parts of Anambra State. Now let's get back to Onyekachi for an update on the current situation in that community.
Okay, Lami, I am standing by the Omambala River. This is one of the coastal communities in Anambra State that has witnessed perennial flooding. In 2012 and 2022, most of the communities in Anambra East, Anambra West, Ayamelum, Obaru witnessed heavy flooding, and the people were relocated to the uplands for safety. This year, the Anambra State government has commenced sensitization through traditional rulers and presidents general to sensitize the people about and to warn them about the impending flood. I have with me here a ward councillor from Umoba Nam, Emmanuel Okonkwo. Emmanuel, come over, who will tell us about the preparedness of the government towards the impending flooding. Emmanuel, tell us, how is the Anambra State government preparing about handling flooding this year?
Yeah, the state government is well prepared by, first of all, creating awareness due to what actually happens in the past. So they created awareness through the jingle, radio jingles, and public announcement through the PGs and Igwes of the community. They have provided holding camps for eventualities. A lot of camps here. We have about 15 different holding camps in Anambra East here. One at Umoba, Aguleri, Umuleri, Nsube, Bariam. So many, and the other ones accommodating those who are living at Enugu and Eziago, which located at Ayamelum local government area. So the state government have done the little they can, because they cannot. This is natural disaster. They cannot control it. You understand? It's something that happens naturally. But what they do by providing holding camps, maybe the other relief materials like clothes and food stuff given to those people in the camp. All these things are in place. Though we are not expecting the flood to maybe get to the level we saw last year.
All right, thank you very much, Honorable Emmanuel Okonkwo. I also have Chizoba Oba, a marine officer. He is resident here and has lived in this place for so many years. So we want to hear from you, Chizoba Oba, how you have lived in this place for a very long time. From your experience, how do you see this year's situation?
Okay, this year's flood, the flood for now is not receding, and I think the flood is stagnant for now.
Okay, from previous experience, do you feel that there's going to be a flooding? Because from the people we interviewed, they said they are not ready to move and they don't see the flood coming this year. We interviewed some residents and they said they don't see the flood coming. How was your experience?
Yes, it's true. Yeah, the flood is not moving it's not moving for now. I say it's stagnant. It's not receding. So the way we are saying it here is not going to be like the one of last year.
Okay, but we also had information that the flood has affected some farm produce in some areas in this community. Is that so?
That is true.
Okay, so
that is true.
What measures did the people take towards this?
Before the flood, they have already prepared themselves because they have already been receiving information from the PGs and from the Kenks that they should get ready, that the flood this year will be bigger than or larger than the one of last year. So before the flood gets to this level now, they have already uprooted some of the things out from the farmlands.
Okay, so they started harvesting their crops early. We also gathered from the state government that there is this inter-agency cooperation. The agencies that are cooperating include SEMA, the Ministry of Health, local government, Ministry of Environment, Ministry of Power and Water Resources, and the Deputy Governor's Office. So from the information we gathered, the Anambra State government is prepared in the eventuality of flooding, and they have prepared camps at Bishop Crowder Memorial Primary School, Onitsha, and another one at Town Hall, Unity Town Hall, Umweri. So from the look of things, everything is ready. They are prepared in the event of flooding. It's back to you, Lami.
Thank you very much, Oyekachi. We hope that the residents will embrace precautionary measures based on the information given by NIMET. Now we move to the seat of the caliphate, where Nana will give us more stories trending from northwest Nigeria. Nana, it's over to you.
Thank you, Lami. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Sokoto. Sokoto State Government, in collaboration with development partners, has awarded contracts for the construction of rural roads in Gwadabawa, Kweri, Ilela, Wurno, and Gada local government areas worth 5.3 billion naira. The roads will benefit 19 communities across 5 local government areas. Zainab Saidu Abdul Nasser reports.
Former Minister of Police Affairs Muhammad Megari Dingadi is the special guest that flagged off the construction of 10.7 kilometer road of Guzulega, Ergada, Luku, and Malikawa at the cost of 1.5 billion naira. 21.7 kilometer Cafe Gidan Hashim Kadadin Gariwa Tsitse Road, 3 billion naira, and 6.9 kilometer Elila Runji Junction at 800 million naira. Governor Ahmed Aliyu said his efforts to impact on the rural communities is to improve agricultural productivity and reduce post-harvest losses and accelerate the growth of the state's grain economy. He stressed his commitment to his obligations. Governor Ahmed Aliyu applauded the development partners for their support and called on other partners to join hands with his administration in bringing such projects to deserving communities.
We must therefore do everything possible to develop our dear state infrastructurally. This calls for our collaboration with development partners.
The special guest of honor, former Police Affairs Minister Muhammad Megari Dingadi, hailed Governor Ahmed Aliyu for his commitment to fulfilling his campaign promises, saying roads improve the living condition of the benefiting communities and the state at large.
Within these 100 days, he has been able to achieve a lot of the promises that he made. So I wonder how it will look like at the end of 1 year.
Some inhabitants of the areas affected expressed delight and thanked the governor. In Sokoto, Zainab Said Abdul Nasser, NTA News.
Well, that's about it for us. Nationwide continues in Abuja with Lami. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much, Nana. We now go to sports. Athletes begin medal haul at National Youth Games in Asaba.